The Assembly will now hear an address by His Excellency Taneti Maamau, President, Head of Government and Minister for Foreign Affairs and Immigration of the Republic of Kiribati. I request protocol to escort His Excellency.
A nombre de la Asamblea.
On behalf of the General Assembly, I have the honor to welcome His Excellency Taneti Maamau, President, Head of Government and Minister for Foreign Affairs and Immigration of the Republic of Kiribati, and to invite him to address the Assembly.
Mr. President, UN Secretary General, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, allow me to share warm greetings from the government and the people of the Republic of Kiribati. In the name of the Almighty God, whom we place our trust in, and is our anchor of solidarity. Mr. President, I join previous speakers in congratulating you on your election, and I wish you every success as you guide these important deliberations. The theme, rebuilding trust and reigniting global solidarity for accelerating action on the 2030 Agenda and its Sustainable Development Goals toward peace, prosperity, progress, and sustainability for all resonates deeply with the aspirations of our people. In our fast-changing world, predicated by multiple challenges, part of the theme to rebuilding trust and reigniting global solidarity is very timely and crucial. As we all know, trust is the cornerstone of any relationship, that when strained, it creates uncertainties, mistrust, and instability. Geopolitical tensions, economic disparities, and the unforeseen challenges brought about by events like pandemics, climate change crisis, and disasters have tested the resolve of national governments, their peoples, and their partners. The call to rebuild trust, therefore, highlights the need for countries to establish faith in multilateral cooperation and diplomacy. It highlights the importance of transparent communication, mutual understanding, and engaging with each other to afford strategic partnerships for our common goal and development. Our renewed commitments to accountability, good governance, and responsive policies can contribute to a more engaged and empowered global community. At the same time, the call to reignite global solidarity reflects our recognition that our global challenges and opportunities are intertwined. It encourages countries not only to recognize, but also deliver actions to resolve issues such as poverty, inequality, climate change, and healthcare. The idea of global solidarity underscores the principle that no nation can thrive in isolation and recognizes the uniqueness of each country's context and need. The experience from COVID-19 pandemic is an exemplary of the world coming together as one family. When we recognize the essence of science, while we recognize the essence of science to address pandemics, it is important for member states to work together to gain a better understanding of the variants and vaccines before they are rolled out. Mr. President, since the launching of the SDGs in 2015, my government launched Kiribati's first ever long development plan, identifying our priorities for development. The Kiribati vision for 20 years is rooted firmly on the needs of all Kiribatis and commits my government to transform Kiribati into a wealthier, healthier, and peaceful nation. It recognizes the need to align our national priorities with the SDGs and complements our national efforts with those outlined by our UN family. In 2018, my government became one of the few member states that delivered a voluntary national report, VNR, outlining our policy actions to achieve our SDGs. The VNR enabled us to take stock of our development and assess our future. To ensure sustainability and ownership of our desired developmental goals, we are engaged in extensive consultations at all levels. As the year 2030 is imminent, time is of the essence. It is imperative for our UN family to stay on track in our efforts to achieve our goals set forth in the SDGs. This entails setting ambitious targets and mobilizing resources, technology, innovation, and policy changes to ensure the goals are achieved on time. However, there is no guarantee that SDG goals will be achieved. Therefore, Kiribati's graduation from a least developed country would not be sustainable. Mr. President, since our independence in 1979, our nation has enjoyed 44 years of stable and peaceful governance. We continue to recognize the independence of the three arms of government, trusting that each arm discharges its duties with the highest level of integrity in a transparent, respectful, and honest manner. We are committed and determined to ensure that Kiribati remains peaceful as we chart our future. But peace can be precarious, as determining factors are often beyond our control. We have the human resources, yet lack the capacity or necessary skills to develop our country. Equally important is the commitment to maximize benefit to our people, uplift our communities, and maintain our cultural values for peace. During this year's National Day celebrations, after so many years, Kiribati, for the first time in history, successfully united all faith-based organizations to gather again as one family under one roof to worship God. All Christian denominations, including the Baha'i faith and Islam followers in Kiribati, rejoiced in songs of praise and in richness of prayers. During this worship, it was heartening to be in the atmosphere where one can truly feel the grace, peace, and love of God. Also, recognizing the greater humility of being an Kiribati is far more effective in sustaining peace rather than the differences in faith. We invite the rest of the world to follow this example. As part of our commitment to global peace, my government is working closely with the UN to engage our police in the UN peacekeeping missions and with the support of various partners. We will commit to support gender balance in recognition of Kiribati's ongoing commitment to equal representation and opportunities. In addition, Kiribati has strengthened its policies and laws to support and empower women and girls, people with disabilities, elders, the unemployed, youth, and children. Mr. President, we must recall our commitments under our UN Charter to build a safe, peaceful, and secure home for our peoples, individually as sovereign nations and collectively as members of the United Nations. In Kiribati, we strongly believe that this is deeply threatened and undermined by the continued existence of nuclear weapons, the discharge of nuclear-treated water, and the leakage of radioactive materials into the blue Pacific Ocean. The existence of nuclear weapons also diminishes trust in our UN family members on their commitments to peace and stability if they continue to manufacture and possess nuclear weapons. Kiribati will continue promoting the non-proliferation and ultimately the total elimination of nuclear weapons to our United Nations, and in particular, our obligations in keeping our region, our land, our harbor, airspace, and our ocean free of environmental destruction and pollution with radioactive waste and other materials, including plastics. Most importantly is the health of our people, especially those who were exposed to the nuclear test blast on Christmas Island, and those whose ancestral land have been exploited, leaving pinnacles behind. Compensations must be made to those on Christmas Island, including the Banabans people affected by environmental degradation, to rebuild trust. One of the global challenges and grave concerns that impacts our lives and future is corruption. The government recognizes that fighting corruption is critical to achieving sustainable development, and accordingly hosted the first ever regional anti-corruption conference for Pacific leaders in 2020. The outcome of this conference, Day and Our Vision, reaffirms the Pacific unity against corruption, as well as integrating good governance principles into their broader developmental agenda. At the international level, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, along with the General Assembly, can lead the way by ensuring that anti-corruption efforts are prioritized in our development efforts, in our pursuit of global sustainable development, with SDG 16 as our guidepost. Mr. President, enhancing prosperity is essential for sustaining peace, and so the government is dedicated to people-centric principles, placing these citizens at the center of our decisions and services, and promoting transparent governance. We value continuous learning and capacity development for a competent public service to deliver on development goals. Building capacity and transfer of knowledge to enhance the capacity of our people is sustainable. This allows our people to take ownership of our own national processes and procedures, thus guiding our development. We acknowledge the support of our development partners, which needs to be well coordinated and harmonized to ensure fair and equal distribution and allocation of limited resources amongst competing needs. We are committed to expanding access to overseas labor market, providing decent working conditions and adhering to international labor standards. In education, we invest in our young generation and educators, support accessible, well-resourced schools for quality learning environments, and ensure equal access to high-quality education at all levels to nurture our people and advance our nation forward. Mr. President, in the pursuit of SDG acceleration, Kiribati is faced with significant challenges due to its geographical isolation, scatteredness of its islands within its 3.5 million square kilometers economic exclusive zone, and vulnerability to climate change, to name a few. Encountered with these significant challenges, delivery of essential services such as education, health, security, including the implementation of activities related to achieving SDGs in Kiribati, is very costly. We should be given increased access to financial resources to obtain equipment, infrastructure, and others to achieve SDGs and at the same time develop our country. This includes an urgent call to scale up global financial resources and simplifying guidelines to allow easy access. Achieving this guarantees Kiribati to be placed in a better position to sustain peace and harmony. With a vast ocean and airspace, Kiribati's resources are central to our survival, development, and security. To harness our ocean resources sustainably, we need financial assistance and access to the right capabilities, technology, and equipment. Likewise, the management of our airspace is important for security purposes. This will enable us to effectively manage our maritime domain and airspace, ensuring responsible utilization while protecting our fragile ecosystem. At the front of climate change, Kiribati is experiencing intensifying severe drought, with coastal inundation affecting homes, public infrastructure, food, and water security. The projected cost for adaptation has significantly increased. Therefore, developed countries are urged to put more funds beyond the global pledge agreed to in Paris. This would also finance the loss and damage and facilitate investment in early warning systems and forecast. With that said, this would help our people adapt to the changing environmental conditions and to build resilience in our communities. Mr. President, sustainability has become the new governance imperative, which needs to be clearly understood. As leaders of today, it is vital to know exactly what we want to sustain, at what scale, and be wary of its implications. This will require us to be more diligent, patient, and not working with sheer determination, so sustainability of resources, efforts, and time is optimally maximized for the betterment of all. Before I conclude, Mr. President, I would like, on behalf of my countrymen and the people of Kiribati, join previous speakers and excellencies in offering our condolences to the government and the people of Morocco and Libya for such a tragedy that they have faced. May God bless them. In conclusion, let's embrace our traditional blessings of the Maori, the Roi, or the Tabemoa, which literally means health, peace, and prosperity upon us all. Thank you.
On behalf of the Assembly, I wish to thank the President, Head of Government and Minister for Foreign Affairs and Immigration of the Republic of Kiribati for the statement just made. I request protocol to escort His Excellency.